The main route in and out of downtown Madison is closed as police search for the driver of a rolled over vehicle. Josh Sprider is live with the latest.
And the Columbia County DA's office could be closed yet again this morning, but the reason why remains unclear.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Now This Morning on this Tuesday, April 9th. We're going to get an update from Josh on that crash. It's going to impact your morning commute if you're headed downtown. But first to the weather. Another nice day out there.
Yeah, not bad. Not quite as warm as it was yesterday, but check out these beauties that I just found on the patio.
Nice.
Just took that a couple seconds ago. The daffodils are blooming. Hopefully they're of the hardy variety because we do have some April snow in the forecast coming up tomorrow, but not today. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Skies are clear this morning. We'll have a lot of sunshine through especially the first part of the day. Maybe some clouds moving in, especially west of Madison this afternoon. Weather track, though, showing you that skies are clear for the entire area this morning. It is a little bit colder. Haven't found the bottom yet here in Madison. We're down to 38. Still holding on to 43 in Janesville and Mineral Point, 40 in Boscobel, and 42 in Platteville. Our temperatures, though, will climb through the 40s, back into the 50s, real close to 60 degrees later on today. The difference from between today and yesterday, though, is the wind direction. Today, winds will be from the northwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. That'll keep us a little cooler. Your first alert traffic maps this morning. We are still showing you an accident that is on John Nolan. Has closed the road in both directions between Shore Drive and Lakeside Street. Be aware of that. You'll want to avoid that area if you can. Find another route in and out of downtown this morning. Otherwise, for the rest of Dane County, things looking pretty good. No accidents on the interstate to report right now and no major delays on the Beltline.
Traffic could be a lot more difficult to maneuver coming up in the next couple days.
It's kind of a main artery into the city, and with that snow coming, definitely.
The slush just is
more
going to be
problems.
an issue. Thanks, Hattie.
You're welcome.
So the top story out of the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning continues to be a crash that will impact your drive in and out of downtown Madison.
Hattie just mentioned it, but let's get a live look right now with Josh Sprider. He's as close as he can get to that crash, and police are still looking for the driver this morning. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, if John Nolan Drive is usually part of your morning commute, I would think about another option this morning as traffic is still being diverted. Now, the crash actually happened out on the bridge between Lake Monona and Monona Bay, and this is as close as we can get. So we're going to give you a closer look with some zoomed in video right now. And even zoomed in, it's hard to pick out the wreck exactly. Just a lot of flashing lights. Madison police say they responded just after 3 this morning to the single vehicle crash on John Nolan south of North Shore Drive. When they arrived, officers discovered the vehicle had rolled over multiple times, but found the driver had already left the scene. They're still looking for that person right now. Investigators say they are still processing any evidence that they can find, so that's why they remain on the scene nearly 3 hours later. If you know anything, you're asked to call Madison Police or Madison Area Crime Stoppers. There are no reports of any injuries as of yet. Now, this closure stems from North Shore Drive all the way down to Lakeside Street near Olin Park. So if you take this stretch, I would find another option. And it does appear that there is a wrecker and a tow truck on scene this morning, so hopefully they can get this opened up soon. There's still no word yet on how long this closure is going to last. So we'll keep you updated on any new developments this morning. Ladies, back to you.
Certainly a good sign, though, as we get closer and closer to the rush hour. So thank you, Josh, for that update. We appreciate it.
In an apartment, and I felt the dip in the floor, and because the guy's been downstairs working all morning, so I went downstairs to tell him that something was wrong. And when I came upstairs to show him, we was in the apartment looking, then all of a sudden the floor just collapsed.
Those are 2 of the Madison residents out of their homes this morning after an apartment building partially collapsed on Madison's west side. It happened after construction crews knocked out a load-bearing wall in the basement of that building, causing 4 units to collapse. Luckily, no one was injured. The city says those apartments, though, are not safe to live in, so about 30 apartments worth of people had to find somewhere else to stay last night.
In Wanakee, 7 people are out of their homes this morning, and a firefighter is recovering after an apartment fire there. This happened at the Village Glen Apartments on O'Malley Street yesterday. Crews say they got to the building quickly to put that fire out, but at least 1 unit was seriously damaged. Several others had smoke damage as well. The firefighter who was hurt is back at work and expected to be okay. Investigators are still looking into what caused that fire.
New video into the Channel 3000 Alert Center from just outside LA this morning. The man on that treadmill says he was looking forward to another workout when he got one.
Wow.
That car smashed into the front window of that Anytime Fitness building. Now the man is able to roll to the side, you can see there. He says it's a miracle he only sustained minor injuries. Crazy video there. The driver of the SUV later told police her brake pedal failed. To the other side of the country now, a county up in New York is working on a new plan to combat the measles outbreak after a Supreme Court judge blocked its attempt to ban unvaccinated kids from public spaces. There have been 167 cases of the measles in Rockland County so far this season. Lawmakers are now working to close loopholes that allow people to avoid vaccines, things like ending all medical exemptions for those shots. They're also working to educate people who aren't getting those shots for religious reasons.
Back in Wisconsin, we continue to follow a developing story out of Columbia County this morning where the district attorney's office could be closed again today without explanation. A sign posted to an office window yesterday said the office was temporarily closed because there are no staff available. Now, we first reported staffing issues within that office last month when an assistant DA and victims witness coordinator both left after Tristan Egan was appointed to the district attorney's position. When asked about those departures, Egan told News 3 Now they were amicable and denied claims that there was drinking and partying in the office. Calls to her direct line went to voicemail yesterday, and neither the Attorney General's office nor the governor's staff could confirm an investigation into Egan's conduct or tell us why her office is closed.
Dane County's Board of Canvassers meets today to continue the process of accounting for ballots as the race for state Supreme Court is still not called this morning. Brian Hagedorn leads Lisa Neubauer by about 6,000 votes following last week's election. That is within the margin for Neubauer to call for a recount, but her campaign would have to pay for it. If Hagedorn is declared the winner, it solidifies a conservative-leaning majority on the state's highest court for at least the next few years. Municipal boards need to have their canvass to the county by 4 o'clock yesterday. Dane County must have its final results to the state by Friday. At the state capitol today, lawmakers are set to vote on a bill that would eliminate the term mental retardation from 5 state agencies' administrative codes. Governor Tony Evers had ordered the removal of that term weeks ago. This bill was authored by Republicans, but Evers' order essentially negated its effect. The bill calls for using the phrase intellectual disability as a replacement for the state's Public Service Commission and the Departments of Health Services, Children and Families, Safety and Professional Services, and Workforce Development. The governor says he will sign that bill, and it doesn't matter who gets the credit.
New this morning out of the sports world, Tony Bennett's relatives here in Wisconsin probably a little groggy this morning after he led Virginia to that team's first NCAA title. In true March Madness fashion, it came down to overtime, but the Cavaliers pulled off a victory over third-seeded Texas Tech. Final score 85-77. It is UVA's first title ever in men's basketball, just a year after the team became the first #1 seed to fall to a 16th seed in the first round of the tournament. Now, Tony Bennett, you may remember, was a standout at UW Green Bay, and his dad, Dick Bennett, coached the Badgers in the late 90s before Bo Ryan took over. Charlottesville going nuts this morning, I'm sure.
If Wisconsin couldn't get very far at all in this tournament, at least we've got a little bit of a tie to the winner.
Yeah, it's pretty cool there. I'm sure a lot of people vying for a sit-down interview with Dick Bennett this morning to see how proud he is.
I bet. All right, 6:08 your time now. Firefighters in Waupun are working to bring a mobile exhibit to town, honoring those who lost their lives in the September 11th terror attacks. We're talking with the fire chief about how you can help bring it to our area next.
And we hope you still have the winter coat and even the scraper handy this morning. Hattie's first alert forecast taking us back into the snow and the cold. Beautiful sunrise, though, this morning.
Yeah.
That's when News 3 Now this morning returns.
Good morning from the patio. One more day with a spring jacket, and then unfortunately, I think it might be back to some of the winter gear, for me at least, as we go through the end of the week. A big change is coming in the weather. Let's take a step back, though. Yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. Had to show this map to show you how warm it was yesterday. 73 in Madison. It was our first 70-degree day in almost 6 months. October 10th was the last time we hit 70 or greater here in Madison. It was actually 77 in La Crosse, 80 in Des Moines, even 70 up to the northwest in Minneapolis. So some pretty mild air across the region. Today is going to be a little bit cooler. We'll top closer to 60. It is Severe Weather Awareness Week, and all week we're talking about the severe weather threats here in southern Wisconsin. And while lightning does not make a severe thunderstorm, it is an underrated threat with severe weather. If you want to know how far a storm is away from you, all you have to do is count the time between when you see the lightning strike and when you hear the thunder. Count in seconds and then divide by 5 to get the distance in miles. Now, always remember the 30-30 rule. If there are less than 30 seconds in between the time that you see the lightning and hear the thunder, that storm is too close to you and you need to seek shelter. You shouldn't be outside. And of course, wait 30 minutes after the last lightning strike to return to any outdoor activities. That'll keep you safe. Now, we do have some inclement weather in the forecast, but not necessarily severe thunderstorm or springtime weather. It's more of the winter variety. A messy mixture of precipitation is going to develop across southern Wisconsin tomorrow, and that may include some slushy accumulations for the southern part of the state. Heaviest snow amounts will be to our north with this particular system, but it's likely to impact travel across the entire area. So an alert day has been added to the forecast. No worries today. Skies are clear. The storm system is developing in the Rockies and it'll come up from the south and west. So things are pretty quiet right now with that northwesterly flow. Temperatures, though, are a little cooler. 38 here in Madison, 36 in the Dells, but still some 40s on the map. Lone Rock's actually 48 degrees this morning, and Monroe is up a couple of degrees to 46 right now, so not quite as cold in all spots. Northwesterly winds, though, will be with us through the day. They'll be increasing this afternoon to 10 to 20 miles an hour, so it'll be a little bit breezy at times. That northwesterly winds isn't going to be quite as warm as the one we had yesterday. Your future track forecast model takes temperatures from the 30s and 40s back into the 50s by noon, topping real close to 60 degrees. Now, some clouds will start to spread into the area late today and continue to thicken up overnight across the region. The precipitation moves in through the morning on Wednesday, and again, it could be all types of precipitation. We could see some snow mixing with rain at times, leading to a slushy mess on the roads. It will eventually change to rain for most of southern Wisconsin, but we could see some snowflakes on the backside Friday as colder air moves in behind this system. The storm system will affect us for 3 days, Wednesday through Friday. We dry out for the weekend, and you know, April snow doesn't last too long, so if we get any accumulation, it's likely to melt this weekend. Now let's get an update on your traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. So far, no delays showing up on the Beltline this morning. Everything is moving well so far from end to end. Roads here in Dane County, not looking too bad. Just a few of the usual brake lights showing up on the northbound side of Verona Road and Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline. Just a heads up, you will need to find another route this morning if you usually take John Nolan. A crash earlier closed the stretch between Lakeside Street and North Shore Drive. No word on when it'll be back open. It may cause lots of delays, especially as it gets busier. And other routes coming into the city, they're moving at the posted speeds with no major crashes or issues. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
All right, Josh, thanks so much. And Hattie, thank you. So a lot of us, probably all of us, remember exactly where we were and what we were doing when planes crashed into the Twin Towers. But high schoolers, they weren't even around. They weren't even born yet during the 9/11 terror attacks.
It's hard to fathom. There is a new effort, though, in Waupun to help kids learn about the hundreds of first responders who lost their lives that day. Fire Chief BJ DeMa is here this morning to share how you can help us bring the Never Forget Mobile exhibit to Wisconsin this year. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Why is this effort so important to you?
You know, for me, as 9/11 becomes more and more of a historical event, you worry that it is forgotten. You hear so much about never forget, and it becomes a bit of a token term. You know, as a generation, I think we owe it to our children to make sure that they don't forget about the people that stepped up that day. You know, whether it was first responders or civilians, the life lost that day was just terrible. So it's important that our kids remember that.
Our kids will never know the aftermath of that, right? I mean, we felt fear together, you know, whatever you want to fill in the blank there. But what are you hoping by bringing an exhibit like this to the community that kids do take away from that event?
Yeah, well, one of the things that actually two things that the event features. One is you can hear the audio recordings of first responders that day. To hear the confidence that they talked with. I don't believe they felt those towers were coming down. I do believe they thought they were going to be able to go up there, put the fire out, take care of the situation,
right,
and get people out. The other component is there is a retired FDNY firefighters that travel with the exhibit. So the personal interaction, to be able to ask them questions on what they saw that day, what are the challenges they were dealing with, the thoughts going through their mind. There's no better way to learn about it than from firsthand accounts.
Yeah.
So the exhibit is coming to town this summer. Tell us a little bit about the fundraising efforts.
Yeah, so the exhibit costs $15,000 to bring to the city. Right now we are right around $3,500. So we've got a fair amount of work to get done before the end of June. So we're trying to get the word out, hoping that potentially there's a corporate sponsor. We do have a GoFundMe page set up for individuals that are looking to donate, that they can do that and be part of helping bring this to the community.
You can see there the dates that they're hoping to bring it, as well as the website where you can search for a little bit more information. And, you know, Chief, what was it about this exhibit in particular that kind of drew you to it and made you want to bring it here?
Yeah. I just remember that was a big event in my life that really drove me to want to get into the fire service. So it's as tragic a day it was. It's one that, as you alluded to earlier, you'll never forget where you were that morning when the planes hit the towers.
Chief, thanks so much for talking about it with us this morning. We're hoping you can get the fundraising help you need.
Thank you for your help.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for what you do. All right, so we are cooling down today. Nothing compared to the snow. Yeah, I know we keep saying it's snow heading our way. Hattie is hinting at the fact that we should be more used to this by now in April. Come on. That's when News 3 Now This Morning returns. 6:22 right now. I just feel kind of deflated this morning. I don't know, especially seeing video like this because we were in highs in the low 70s yesterday. We are going to get into the, near 60 today. It just is like, really? This is a possibility?
Hattie just asked us, why do we live here?
I know, seriously.
These are some pretty drastic changes, and this is video from just last year, the 18th of April, when we had a major snowstorm across southern Wisconsin.
Oh, it's hard to see.
I know, but the good news is that April snow does not last long, I guess. We had, on the 18th, we had 7.2 inches of snow. That was a new record for that date. That led to the second snowiest April ever here in Madison. We had over 13 inches of snow that April. The snowiest April back in 1973 with 17.4 inches of snow that month. We did have a pretty cold start to April last year, but take a look, that snowstorm from 1973. Here are the statistics on that storm. Widespread for the state, 10 to 20 inches of snow. Madison picked up 13 inches on that date alone. This was a snowstorm in early April 1973. The good news, though, I looked back at the records, that snow did not last that long, but during the storm, winds gusted to 50 miles an hour, closing the interstate for 2 days back in 1973. So not out of the question to see a pretty bad snowstorm here in April. In fact, for the month of April, we typically see about 2.5 inches of snow. Overall precipitation is rather high, although most of that is falling as liquid precipitation. And as I mentioned, April snow doesn't last long. Normal highs at the start of the month are in the 50s, but by the end of the month, normal highs are in the 60s with those normal nighttime lows well above the freezing point as well. Again, we can get all seasons in the month of April. Take a look at the extremes. The warmest day ever, 94 degrees back in 1980 on April 22nd. That was the day after my brother was born. Now, here's a look at our live shot this morning from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam. We're not talking about any records today. It'll be a pretty normal day for us. Skies are clear this morning. It is a little colder, especially from Madison, and points to the east, where temperatures are actually in the 30s this morning. Take a look at the actual numbers. 38 here in Madison, 38 as well in Juneau, 37 in Watertown. To the west, still holding on to some 40s this morning. In fact, as mild as 48 degrees in Lone Rock. Here's a look at your bus stop weather forecast. You may want a light jacket today, but that's about it. We have sunshine in the forecast. Highs close to 60 this afternoon. Definitely cooler than it was yesterday. You'll probably feel that northwesterly wind today as well, keeping temperatures in the upper 50s, close to 60. But tomorrow,
Yeah,
I know.
let's just look at the sunrise for a second, though.
Snow pants tomorrow. Like, I'm thinking about kids going from shorts yesterday to snow pants tomorrow and being like, sorry, Mom, you're going to have to, like...
They're going to resist.
Right. There's going to have to be a level of convincing and, like, reassuring from Hattie tomorrow that, like, goes so far beyond her mom duties, I can't even start to tell you.
It's going to be pushback. My boys included. They're like, no way, Mom.
It's going to end sometime, you guys. It's coming.
May's right around the corner.
Certainly hope so. Golly. Thank you, Hads.
You're welcome.
6:26 your time now. Staff at the Columbia County Humane Society are trying to reach the person who stole $500 from their building, but not necessarily to punish them.
We'll have more on that. Plus, a canine officer here in Wisconsin is still recovering this morning after being stabbed by a suspect multiple times. We'll share more on that and the day's top stories next on News 3 Now this morning.
Milwaukee police are asking for help identifying the suspect and the victim in an abduction caught on camera.
Right now, we're getting our first look at the car involved in a crash on John Nolan Drive, which closed that stretch of road this morning, and police have located the people associated with it. I'm Josh Spreiter live with an update coming up.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning on this Tuesday, April 9th. We're going to get to Josh Spreiter with an update on your morning commute downtown because it is going to be impacted by that crash. But first to the other top story of the day, the weather. Danica, you keep calling it weather whiplash.
Yeah, seriously. Let's turn it over to Hattie now, who is still in the jacket, the spring jacket, I should clarify, for now, Hads.
Yes, I have the spring jacket for one more day, but unfortunately I think I'm going to need a few more layers tomorrow and for the rest of the week. So enjoy today. It's not going to be as warm as it was yesterday, but still pretty darn nice. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. The sun is up this morning. Skies are clear. It's a nice crisp start to the day. 38 here in Madison, down to 35 in the Dells. Still a lot of areas, though, in the 40s this morning. Janesville over to Prairie du Chien. You're waking up with temperatures in the 40s. Now, over the next 12 hours, temperatures will climb into the 50s and reach pretty close to 60 degrees later on today. Northwesterly winds, though, will keep it a little cooler than it was yesterday. Let's take a look at those traffic maps early this morning. No major incidents on the interstate, just some slowdowns on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline, but there is still a road closure. John Nolan Drive closed in both directions as they clean up an accident that occurred earlier. This is between North Shore Drive and Lakeside Street. This is going to impact the morning commutes. Let's send it over to Josh Spreiter, who's on the scene with the...
Hattie, good morning. Yeah, we just saw that vehicle involved in that crash get rolled away on the wrecker and just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. We have learned that the driver and passenger associated with that crash were discovered at a local hospital and they're being treated with non-life-threatening injuries. So there's some good news right there that they found them. Again, the road is still being closed right now, so traffic is being diverted. So if you use John Nolan Drive, use a different route this morning. We'll show you some video from earlier right now of that rollover crash, which you really couldn't see much of because it happened right in the middle of the bridge between Lake Monona and Monona Drive, or Monona Bay rather. Just after 3 this morning, Madison police say they responded to a call of a single vehicle crash on John Nolan Drive just south of North Shore Drive. When they arrived, officers discovered the vehicle had rolled multiple times but found no one at the scene. It took them a few hours to find them, but again, they were discovered at a local hospital. Police are still processing evidence here at the scene, so if you know anything, you're asked to call Madison Police or the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Again, John Nolan Drive remains closed this morning all the way from North Shore Drive down to Lakeside Street at Olin Park, and there's still no word on when exactly this stretch of road will reopen. The block is still there. We can still see police having this blocked off on both the inbound and outbound lanes of downtown Madison. Of course, we will keep you updated on any new developments throughout News 3 Now this morning. Ladies, back to you.
Gosh, such a major artery closed down. You know, that's going to slow down stuff all over the isthmus. Josh Spreiter reporting for us. Thank you, Josh.
Happening now, Milwaukee police are looking for a kidnapping victim and whoever abducted that person after the crime was caught on surveillance video. You're looking at that right there. It happened in the middle of the street at 9th and Mitchell on the south side of Milwaukee. Officers have not been able to identify a suspect or determine if the victim is a man or a woman. The vehicle involved in this is a dark SUV with tinted windows and a luggage rack on top. It's possibly a 2003 Pontiac or Nissan. Anyone with information should call police immediately.
While officers in the Wisconsin Dells continue to investigate the murder of a young woman, her friends are raising money to help send her 2-year-old daughter back to family in Ukraine. Police found Tanya Huzva's body inside a house in the Dells on Thursday. Her husband, Fuad Pashiev, is behind bars and facing charges for her death. Her friends are now focusing on the 2-year-old daughter Tanya left behind. A GoFundMe page has raised more than $25,000. That's going to help her grandparents come to the U.S. and take their granddaughter and their daughter's body back to Ukraine.
A police canine in Green Bay is recovering this morning after being stabbed multiple times. The police chief there says canine Pyro is in critical but stable condition after surgery. Officers were responding to a call Sunday night when they say the suspect, Se Vang, was threatening his father. After a short standoff, Vang came out of the house and when he wouldn't follow police orders, they released the canine on him. Officers say Vang then pulled out a knife and stabbed Pyro 3 times. Even after he was stabbed, Pyro did not release Vang from his grip until police tasered the suspect. Pyro was rushed to an animal hospital in Green Bay and then to Appleton, where he underwent surgery to treat his injuries. We'll be sure to keep you updated on his condition. Animals in the Columbia County Humane Society are all safe this morning after someone broke in Sunday night and stole money. Shelter manager Jennifer Kirkley walked in yesterday to find a burn mark you just saw there, where she says someone ignited a pile of towels. There was also a broken side window where the break-in allegedly happened and muddy footprints leading to the office. The thieves did get away with some cash. They think at least $500 was taken, which is really no small amount for a nonprofit like this. The Humane Society is asking anyone, whoever took the money, I should say, to just return it and do so anonymously.
So with the chance of precipitation in the forecast, emergency officials are preparing for any scenario, including flooding. That's the case over in Sauk County, where Prairie du Sac residents say flooding is happening more often and they need some help with it. Regina Laurie reached out to News 3 Now with her concerns. She and her neighbors have to use a pump they bought together to prevent flooding from snowmelt and an overflowing retention pond that's nearby. Regina says her neighborhood has seen an uptick in that flooding ever since a new development went up nearby. But officials with the village of Prairie du Sac say it is likely from farm fields, since this new development has a water retention system in place. Now, Laurie says if things don't get better, she may have to leave her home of more than 10 years.
Physically, your stomach just starts to turn. And all you can think about is what can I do myself? I can't rely on anybody else.
Now, because of the flooding that we saw just last month, the village is in early planning stages for flood prevention going forward. But right now, emergency management officials say to just keep an eye on the forecast.
We are getting close to that time of year when beaches start to open up for you and your family to enjoy. And there's a meeting later today to help make sure they actually stay open this summer. The DNR's Committee on Water Quality will be talking about how it responds to phosphorus problems in the water. That's the compound in the leaves we rake up in our yards that wash down the sewer and end up breaking down in our area lakes. That contributes to algae problems. You'll remember dozens of Dane County beaches were shut down most of last summer because of toxic blue-green algae.
All right, almost 6:37 your time now. Another Democratic presidential candidate will follow in Beto O'Rourke's footsteps and make a stop here in Madison this week. We'll tell you who and when coming up.
And ladies, the guidelines for how often we should be screened for breast cancer are changing again. We'll share the details coming up on News 3 Now this morning.
Welcome back. New this morning, a study out in the National Academy of Sciences is linking air pollution to hundreds of thousands of deaths every year. That could be in the form of dirt, dust, soot, or smoke from coal and natural gas-fired plants, as well as from cars, agriculture, construction, and wildfires. In 2011, the study linked air pollution exposure to 107,000 premature deaths. It also found pollution had cost the country $886 billion with a B dollars. Experts are changing their recommendations when it comes to how often women should be getting mammograms.
Yeah, this seems to be constantly changing.
Yeah.
The age women should get screened for breast cancer and how often has been a topic of debate in recent years. And the American College of Physicians says the majority of average risk women ages 50 to 74 would benefit from mammograms every other year instead of annually. They found no significant difference in breast cancer deaths with biennial screenings. Doctors say annual mammograms can actually sometimes do more harm than good from false positive results and unnecessary biopsies and surgeries. Experts recommend, of course, having a conversation with your doctor.
6:41 your time now. Hattie is adding an alert day in the forecast for the snowy mix that might impact your morning commute tomorrow. First, though, a nice spring day starting with a gorgeous sunrise to start your Tuesday. We'll take that. Our first alert forecast is straight ahead.
First, though, it is April 9th, and we want to say happy birthday to Austin, Eleanor, and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Look.
Welcome back. This is the gorgeous view out of Platteville this morning. Just a beautiful sunrise ahead of a really nice spring day. But it's not making tomorrow's weather any easier to bear. Hattie's got the details on that. Hattie?
Yeah, we do have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow, and that's because we're looking at a mixture of precipitation moving into southern Wisconsin. Let's take a look at that alert day forecast. Some slushy accumulation will be possible across southern Wisconsin. If you go to the north and especially and west, you could see some significant snow accumulations with this system. Winter weather bulletins have been posted already in advance of the storm. It's a winter storm watch for the northern third of the state, much of Minnesota as well. Parts of southwestern Minnesota, though, and South Dakota already under a blizzard warning for this particular storm. This could be a historic storm for parts of the region. Now, starting Wednesday, 6 o'clock, you see that precipitation just starting to move into southwestern Wisconsin. So whether or not it reaches Madison by 7, that still remains to be seen, but that precipitation will lift northward through the day and definitely impact the evening commute tomorrow. Then precipitation stays in the area. It'll likely be snow for the northern part of the state, a mix here across southern Wisconsin as we go through Thursday and then back into Friday. As the storm system, the center of the storm moves right across southern Wisconsin, we'll start to see some colder air wrap around behind this system. We may see another rain snow mix Friday morning before all the precipitation comes to an end late on Friday. Now, as far as snow accumulation is, what is expected? Well, for southern Wisconsin, it's going to be a mix. So our snow totals are likely going to be light and more of the slushy variety. As you go north and west, though, some pretty heavy snow is expected. And Minneapolis, I think, has a 70% chance of seeing more than 8 inches of snow with this particular storm. So definitely looking a little bit more like winter than spring to the north. Now, today things are pretty quiet. We're not seeing any precipitation or even cloud cover in the area this morning. Take a look at your current temperature readings. Still mild in the southwestern corner of the state, 43 in Mineral Point, Platteville's at 42, Prairie du Chine's at 43 as well. Here in Madison, we're at 38. Keeps dropping in the Dells. You're now down to 34 degrees. So a little bit colder in some spots this morning, but a nice warm up is expected. We're not going to see the 70-degree ratings that we had yesterday, and that's because winds will be from the west northwest today, keeping highs to around 60 this afternoon. Note the cloud cover moving in late in the day. Those clouds thicken up overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And again, here we stop the map at about 7 o'clock with that precipitation just starting to move into southwestern Wisconsin. It will lift northward through the day, so expect a mix of precipitation for southern Wisconsin. Eventually, we will see the storm system move on out, but it'll take its time. Thursday and Friday will be impacted by the same system. High pressure builds back into the area for the weekend. If we do get any accumulation, it's going to melt this weekend with sunshine and highs near 50 degrees. I don't know if I've ever seen a duck in the Pet Walk forecast, but why not?
Buddy.
Tank, what an awesome name in Edgerton. Looks pretty comfortable in the house.
What a majestic looking duck.
I think Tank can go outside today too.
Yes.
58 degrees.
Yes.
Leash him up, pet him out.
I think leash him up. Housebroken duck, gotta love it.
We need to know more about Hank.
Best
Yeah,
Pet
we need a
Walk.
backstory for sure. Send in your captions.
Please do. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 Now this morning. 6:51, time for the morning sprint. Daddy says we will have one more day of decent weather before April snow rolls in.
But we start with Josh Breiter live downtown, where a rollover crash is going to impact your morning commute. Josh?
Good morning, ladies. John Nolan Drive remains closed after that rollover crash just south of downtown Madison this morning. We'll show you some new video shot within the last 30 minutes here on News 3 Now. Crews removed that vehicle involved. Police say the crash happened around 3 this morning, but when they arrived at the scene, nobody was there. They later found the driver and passenger with non-life-threatening injuries at an area hospital. Police are still investigating. No word yet on when John Nolan Drive will reopen.
Thank you so much, Josh. Milwaukee police are looking for a kidnapping victim and a suspect after an abduction was caught on surveillance video. Officers cannot identify that suspect or determine if the victim is a man or a woman. They say the victim is likely Hispanic with a medium build and possibly curly black hair. Now, the car caught on camera is a dark SUV with tinted windows and a luggage rack on top, possibly a 2003 Pontiac or Nissan. If you know anything about this situation, you should call police immediately.
We was in an apartment and I felt the dip in the floor, and because the guy's been downstairs working all morning, so I went downstairs to tell him that something was wrong. And when I came upstairs to show him, we was in the apartment looking, then all of a sudden the floor just collapsed.
Those are two of the Madison residents out of their homes this morning after an apartment partially collapsed on Madison's west side. It happened after construction crews knocked out a load-bearing wall in the basement of that building, causing 4 units in all to collapse. Luckily, no one was injured. The city says the apartment is not safe to live in, so about 30 apartments worth of people had to find somewhere else to stay last night.
In Wanakee, 7 people are out of their homes and a firefighter is recovering after an apartment fire there. This happened at the Village Glen Apartments on O'Malley Street yesterday. Crews say they got into the building quickly to put that fire out, but at least 1 unit was seriously damaged. Several others had smoke damage as well. The firefighter who was hurt is back at work and expected to be okay.
And sunshine is in our forecast today, and another nice day across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures will start in the 30s and 40s. Skies are clear this morning. Our high today will be a little bit cooler than yesterday, only in the upper 50s, close to 60. Northwesterly winds expected as well, right around 10 to 20 miles per hour.
Thank you so much, Hattie. On Capitol Hill today, Attorney General William Barr will testify at a House subcommittee hearing. The topic of discussion is the Justice Department's budget and priorities, but looming over that conversation is the Mueller report. Barr is in the process of making redactions to that report before it's released publicly. It's unclear how much, if anything, Barr will say about the special counsel during that hearing.
We are waiting to hear whether the Columbia County District Attorney's office is closed again today without explanation. A sign posted to an office window yesterday said the office was temporarily closed because there are no staff available. An assistant DA and a victims witness coordinator recently left that office after Tristan Egan was appointed to the district attorney's position. Neither the Attorney General's office nor the governor's staff could confirm an investigation into Egan's office or tell us why her office is closed.
Dane County's Board of Canvassers meets today to continue the process of accounting for ballots as the race for state Supreme Court is still not called this morning. Brian Hagedorn leads Lisa Neubauer by about 6,000 votes following last week's election. Municipal boards needed to have their canvass to the county by 4 o'clock yesterday. Dane County must have its final results to the state by Friday.
Crime victims and advocates from across the state will be at the Capitol today talking with legislators and law enforcement about making victim services more inclusive, accessible, and trauma-informed. Marcy's Law for Wisconsin is hosting that event starting at 11:30. That organization is named after a California woman who was killed in the early 80s. It has fought for changes in state constitutions around the country to ensure victims have equal rights to protections those charged with crimes also have.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders will be holding a campaign rally at James Madison Park here Friday night at 5 p.m. In his first bid for the presidency back in 2016, Sanders won the Wisconsin primaries, but eventually lost to Hillary Clinton in Pennsylvania. Wisconsin is yet again seen as a battleground state for the 2020 election.
Former UW Green Bay standout Tony Bennett is waking up with a national championship. Virginia took its first ever NCAA men's basketball title with an 85-77 overtime win against third-seeded Texas Tech. It comes just a year after the team became the first #1 seed to fall to a 16th seed in the tournament. CBS This Morning will be live in Charlottesville following the historic victory.
Milwaukee's Summerfest will be revealing the rest of its headliners at 6 a.m. today. That's according to a Facebook post over the weekend. Summerfest has already announced some of its headliners for the American Family Insurance Amphitheater, including Jennifer Lopez, Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, and for my fellow country lovers out there, Thomas Rhett, Jason Aldean, and the Zac Brown Band. We will bring you the latest names announced today over on channel3000.com.
6:57, almost your time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Dealing with a crash on the westbound Beltline near Monona Drive, causing delays. Brake lights just as you exit the interstate, planning at least 5 minutes extra at this point. John Nolan still closed between Lakeside and North Shore Drive from a crash earlier this morning. Make sure you take a different route on your commute. No real word on when that'll be all open back up. And other routes coming into the city, they're moving at the posted speeds with no major issues. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And here's the view from the WISC-TV Skycam.
Ooh.
Beautiful start to this Tuesday morning. Sun is up, skies are clear. Temperatures are in the 30s and 40s this morning. We'll climb to highs pretty close to 60 later on this afternoon. Now, if we wouldn't have hit 73 yesterday, we'd be super excited about that 59 today. It will be just a little bit colder than it was yesterday.
Enjoy the sun today and stay with News 3 and Channel 3000 for the latest on tomorrow's storm.